Keep moving or get hit! Keep moving or get hit!
Someone needs to get this guy to the ER.
In the course of dealing with crowds, it's very, very difficult and challenging for our officers.
Was there a way my hands up?
If we take it to them, we can at least send them on the run.
That person's getting trampled by a horse.
I just opened my eyes and there was a horseshoe.
There's never an intent to run over someone.
I was very afraid in that moment.
Thousands of people across Los Angeles turned out to demonstrate against immigration raids in early June. Many of the protests unfolded without incident. But in some pockets of the city, including in downtown LA, protests turned violent and officers clashed with demonstrators, with officers using 40mm sponge rounds and foam batons, weapons intended to limit injury or death in chaotic situations. But the LAPD did injure dozens of protesters with these less than lethal weapons, some severely.
Hold pressure on there.
The Times analyzed videos, photos, and audio from two incidents 1 block apart on Sunday, June 8th. In one case, an officer shot at Lechonoli Tezcacoatl in the face. In the other, a different officer shot Kelsey McMurtry in the head. And then another trampled her with a horse. Neither McMurtry nor Tezcacoatl posed a physical threat at the time they were targeted. But a Times investigation found that LAPD officers still hit the two protesters in the head and face with 40mm sponge rounds. These are heavily regulated, high-speed projectiles with a hard plastic body and blue tip. Both people were severely injured. We found that officers broke department protocol, which states the weapon should only be used on specific individuals who pose an immediate threat. Targeting the head is also prohibited unless lethal force is authorized, and the weapon cannot be used to disperse crowds. 7 civil rights attorneys and law professors who reviewed video of both incidents for the Times said the officers' actions appear to amount to excessive use of force. The Times analyzed videos frame by frame to see how events unfolded and was able to identify multiple officers involved using their names and serial numbers. It's around 5 p.m. on Sunday, June 8th, at the intersection of East Temple and North Alameda Streets. Officers order a crowd of protesters to disperse. At Lechonoli Tezcacoatl is at the front of the crowd, standing across from the LAPD. As officers prepare to disperse the protesters, the LAPD mounted unit approaches the intersection.
Mounted unit is 30 seconds out, and this crowd will be pushed westbound on Temple.
Tezcacoatl is filming what's happening. Other protesters throw objects, including water bottles, towards police.
No, don't throw shit, don't throw shit!
You keep moving!
Turn on your camera!
Some officers are carrying green launchers which fire 40mm sponge rounds.
Right there, yeah, right there, right there.
Officer Michael Orozco shoots one of these rounds and hits Tezcacoatl in the chest.
Hey, fuck you! What's up? Fuck you! What's up?
Minutes later, Orozco aims and fires in Tezcacoatl's direction. This time, he is hit in the face. Another angle shows the round ricocheting off him. Tezcacoatl's video shows that Orozco fired toward him from approximately 46 feet away. This matches the distance the round traveled before impact, according to an audio analysis of the shot by forensic acoustics expert Robert Maher. It's another indication that Orozco shot Tezcacoatl.
You don't have to tell me, it's all right. I'm having a hard time breathing.
A Times reporter was on the scene right after Tezcacoatl was shot.
Lean up against the wall. Was there a way my hands up? What other bullets did he?
Someone needs to get this guy to the ER.
The LAPD was sued over the use of these 40mm rounds in the wake of the 2020 George Floyd protests. A city council commissioned report also found the department had badly mishandled those protests and inadequately trained officers on how to use the 40mm launcher.
The department has been very proactive on fulfilling those recommendations. Approximately 5,000 officers have been through the training over the last 3 years.
LA Deputy Chief Michael Rimkunas would not comment on specific incidents from this June's protests, but he said the rounds are not designed to disperse crowds.
but we would never use a 40 millimeter to just shoot to move a crowd. That is not authorized. We use that weapon on folks, for instance, that are throwing items, bricks, center blocks, bottled water. At this point, I have not seen any intent on shooting any innocent person in the face.
A block from where Tezcatlipoca was injured, shortly after 6 p.m., several of the same officers are still clearing the street. A group of protesters is barricaded behind pink chairs and traffic signs. Some throw objects at officers. Police radio traffic shows how LAPD perceived the situation.
Sir, at Temple and Main, we got a large crowd that's throwing projectiles. Temple and Main. I have a crowd of about 500 moving up on the officers with shopping carts, barriers.
The police are getting ready to disperse the crowd.
If we take it to them, we can at least send them on the run.
From behind the protest line, YouTuber Danny Mullen films police as they advance. Demonstrators start taking cover. One of them is Kelsey McMurtry. Although McMurtry is retreating, it is not throwing objects at police. Officers' 40 millimeter rounds strike her in the head, torso, and back. Officer Alinka Palatua Gamage fires and hits McMurtry in the head, causing her to fall to the ground. Moments later, Officer Juan Corona loads, aims, and fires his weapon in McMurtry's direction, hitting her in the torso. McMurtry raises her arm to indicate she is injured, but Corona fires another shot, this time appearing to strike her in the back. The round ricochets. As protesters scatter, an injured McMurtry rolls away, and the mounted officers continue to approach. She rises, but Officer Guillermo Garcia and another officer hit her with batons. Then, Garcia's horse tramples McMurtry. Officer David Christensen checks on McMurtry's wounds. And Officer Kao Lu bandages her.
There's no ambulance to be had. This chaos you guys created, this is what happened.
Just call a fucking ambulance. Call a fucking ambulance. I got all day to shoot.
Officers tell protesters that their presence limits medical personnel's ability to reach McMurtry. Later, police radio for help.
We're going to need a RA for a civilian with a severe head wound.
When asked about the incidents, Tom Sagow, a spokesman for the LAPD police union, told the Times that police officers showed extreme restraint and prevented the protests, which he called riots, from spreading to other parts of the city. He also noted that there are ongoing investigations into the police response. The LAPD didn't make the officers we identified available for comment. Deputy Chief Rumkunis notes that crowd control can be chaotic and complex.
It's hard to say that there's any intentional acts that have occurred because in the course of dealing with crowds, it's very, very difficult and challenging for our officers. In these situations when folks are moving toward the crowd, there's never an intent to run over someone, to trample, to ride, to go over anyone, but sometimes we don't dictate what folks are doing that are in front of us.
Tezcatlipoca, a paralegal student, needed surgery for the shot to his face.
I have some family that are undocumented, so I just wanted to be supportive of the community. I got shot by the ribs, and then this one, which did the most damage, which fractured my cheek or my mouth.
Tezcatlipoca was discharged after a week. His jaw will be wired shut for 6 weeks.
I haven't looked at myself.
McMurtry, who works in business loans, said she had arrived at the protests minutes before she encountered the police.
Everybody was afraid and prepared for what they were going to do to us. And we were there because of what they're doing to our neighbors. My hair is actually stapled to my head, but this is all dried blood.
McMurtry's medical records state that her injuries include a traumatic brain bleed. Rohini Har, an emergency physician and expert in crowd control weapons, confirmed to the Times that the injuries on her right scalp and back were consistent with an impact from less than lethal police munitions.
This one I don't know where that came from. Honestly, it's pretty horrifying.
McMurtry is now recovering at home.
The migraines are terrible, but the aftermath of everything else feels a lot worse in a different way.
The LAPD says 52 officers were injured in the protests. While there is no official count of protester injuries, the department told The Times it's received 59 complaints related to officer use of force during the protests.